How is up, everyone? It's your boy, Sharp Teeth Plush! And today, we're going to have a brief discussion of this funny-looking dance banner and my thoughts on the new damage reduction weapons, which I think is actually rather strong, provided that you know how to use it. And one of my favorite character, loli Latchesis, who was just recently promoted into a fancy blood countess after sucking the lifeblood of many people under the command of the vampire Lord Delthea. A promotion! That said, let's have a little discussion about the little blood countess, shall we? So, a green flying dagger. Typically nothing to write home about, and that is why she's being offered up as a 4 stars. However, the weapon she comes with is quite interesting, much of what we'll be discussing today. So as you know, since time immemorial, loli Latchesis is rather slow. Now, probably because being turned into a loli by the evil Delthea causes her legs to be short and stubby. It's still the case now, and as a result, they've decided to create an inheritable weapon that can help soften such weaknesses. Now, the Courtly Mask series of weapons, as a result, gives a very solid 50% damage reduction for the first attack if the enemy is able to perform a follow-up attack. Paltry task for one as slow as loli Latchesis. Sounds great, right? Not really, because the total damage you take wouldn't just be a measly 150%, since nowadays, most people tend to have a skill charge for a second attack, and those are oftentimes rather lethal. Hell, even taking a second normal hit these days is enough to make your head explode. So, I took some time and I thought to myself then, okay, well, how exactly do we make this damn thing work? Well, there's a couple of ways I've devised. The first is the most simple. Simply just kill someone after they've done their first attack and call it a day. Generally speaking, the best way to go about doing this is to either have an insane amount of attack with infantry pulse support, or just, be an armor or something, give yourself bold fighter, and crush the enemy on your second hit with a powerful skill as well, and just nuke your enemy out of existence. But loli Latchesis can't do any of that. She's a flyer. She can't get infantry buff, she can't get anything, she can't get bold fighter, she's just blah. And, well, she is, for some reason, a flying unit. I really don't know why, and the best she can do is get hit and pay back with a moonbow or glimmer if she has a skill charge from a grand scratcher, or if you have a quicken pulse handy or something like that. It's a really stupid way to go and do, and I don't really particularly like it. Not to mention, even with infantry pulse and bold fighter nuking things, perfectly honest, I don't really think that it works as well as you can hope it. You can't really hope to take people down these days, because nowadays everyone is a series of bruisers that can take hits and rip someone to shreds without a care in the world. Especially if they only have to tank offense, which is usually more abundant. And of course, there's a damage reduction fund that we have to add on top of that. So in that case, how do you go about using this Courtly Mask nonsense? This damage reduction dagger? Well, I mean, yeah, to me it does sound like absolute garbage, and honestly it kind of is. But there is a way. What you need is the true power of the 6 paths of pain. So that's how I devised using it, okay? You get yourself Savage Blow, and equip something silly like a Deflexio based on an enemy that you're likely to be facing, and simply smack the enemy with it. That way, when they counterattack, you block the first hit by 50% reduction, and then the second hit by 80%, kind of like how Bike does it. You then leave some residue damage in the form of Savage Blow, and then you have your cute 7 dev and res debuff from the daggers. And it's like kind of like you've already dealt 14 damage to everyone in here, in addition to the guy that you just smacked. Now, here comes the best part. Give yourself Vantage, right? You see, when an enemy counterattacks, they generally can't kill you because of the 50 and 80% reduction. there's a good chance that you'll hit the 50% to 75% HP threshold, because an 80% reduction really is no joke. Take it from me, I used bikes all my life since I got them back in CYL1. The man can stay healthy for an inordinate amount of time. So, the next thing you do is to prepare yourself a 3 cooldown skill. Or if you have Lucina support, like Aether or an Astra or some stupid shit like that. Because you're gonna take 2 hits from the initial conflict, and when you have Vantage up, the next Vantage you spiel is gonna be something like a painful mess of ultimate destruction. Not to mention, I mean, you've already dealt 14 damage to everyone, and 7 and debuff. So yeah, whoever gets hit by that is going to enjoy that. And the best part about it all is that since Vantage lets you hit first no matter what, when an enemy decides to attack you, the turn order will become one where they'll hit you twice immediately afterwards for more damage reduction, even if they were able to survive your counterattack. And simply turn around and smack them again the next turn and put them away. Having taken 2 attacks already, especially with a skill, your third hit is practically guaranteed to be lethal after all that tussle. Therefore, if you build Loli Latchesis, you must get a plus attack IV. All the other stats that she has, not important, because of the damage reduction. And you want the enemy to double you. If I build her, she'll be using close foil for stronger counterattacks, Vantage, Savage Blow, and Deflect Seal depending on the situation. Now, another way you can go about doing this, which honestly is probably smarter, and I think I might actually is to go and use a flyer with guard bearing, because, well, Loli Latchesis can't do that. It's really effective for slow melee flyers who uses the same deflect techniques that I just talked about to block a total of 75%, 80% damage, or even more ridiculous. And while it only works on the first hit of the enemy face, you still have that 50% to fall back to if things get dicey. It's slightly more reliable. I wouldn't say it's the best, but it's there. Now, naturally, anyone who uses Desperation or Brave Weapon will automatically get countered by this evil technique. Now, one last thing, and this is what I actually think is much more preferable. In fact, I probably will do it. So if you play Loli Latchesis as a dancer, which you probably should, instead of some Vantage killing machine, I wouldn't bother with close foil. I would simply beef up your defenses with one of the guard stances. If you're able, try to get the one that Milla has with guard and dev res together. That stance is the best stance in the entire game. There's no better enemy phase defense than that. Honestly, I wish my healers game is stupid. Anyway, combined with the 50% and 80% damage reduction, you have an invincible dancer in you. And if you were to screw up, hey, at least a second hit, oh, it's been blocked by guard, I can't use my skill. You'll probably survive, and you'll be able to do whatever you need to do. And you know what the best part is? Even if your dancer gets baited into attack, they'll still have to hit first, and then whatever counter you have will be negated. Those 2 attacks that you counter Loli Latchesis with, 50% and 80%. It's disgusting and everything that is wrong in this world. Though she wouldn't be able to inflict the def res debuffs due to a lack of counters on her own part. Still, as you can see, it's not a bad weapon if you know how to use it, and Latchesis' dev cantrip could be a very valuable asset in decreased dev anyway for physical units that she supports. I think she's very much worth your time if you care to invest on something like that. Now, for the other units, I do not care all that much. Ethlin is cute, semi-null follow-up dagger with initiation, kind of cute, I guess, but Windsweep null follow-up nonsense isn't really anything new. I've been doing stupid shit like that with base Ephraim since 3 years ago. Not to mention, she won't be dancing much if she solely goes on the attack anyway. Pretty much defeats the purpose of being a dancer, you know what I'm saying? Unlike Latchesis, who actually has a choice between one or the other, Ethlin is simply not fit for taking hits, which is arguably the most important factor a dancer should consider. Now, Sun Quan, who came afterwards, has some of Latchesis' charm, but lacks the immediate debuff the dagger has in exchange for extra damage against flyers. He can perform the same trick as loli Latchesis, but otherwise, really not to write home about. Now, the big units in this banner, Sigurd and Deirdre, really isn't all that interesting either. Cavalry dancers would have been interesting maybe like 3 years ago, but now with heroes like herons just kind of flying around shit and cavalry tripping over ditches, I don't really see the point in clamoring over such a unit type. Now, Sigurd himself likes to block magic. That's what he always does, which is probably still tomes. But maybe they added support for staffs these days. Staves, staffs, whatever. So that deflect magic can really drive home that the whole, oh, screw your magic deal. The dual skill allows them to juggle your units around, which is also kind of cute. It does have some situational uses, which would be rather devastating. Now, say for example, Sigurd and Elincia are surrounded by 3 units in 3 different sides at about 2 paces each. The evil Elincia has Hidden Run and has Gale Force. So she obliterates the target in front of them to the north and then retreats back to where Sigurd is due to Hidden Run. And she procs her Gale Force, so she can move again. Then, Sigurd, being the cool guy that he is, would use his dual skill and suplex her fat ass to the other side, allowing her to make a move on the guy to the other side, like to the right or something. She kills the guy, then immediately comes right back to Sigurd. Sigurd dances for her, and then she makes a move to the next guy nearby, and they wipe out 3 units together. That's a pretty cool play. It's like some fancy shit you see in like Dota or League or some shit like that. Fancy as shit, but it's also highly situational. So generally the most you do with Sigurd usually amounts to him, I don't know, tossing a guy over, they move, and then Sigurd drives after them and gives them another move, giving them a much larger attack range than what they normally do. It's cute, reusable, but it's not really something I'd spend orbs for, I tell you what. Well, that's about it for this banner, really. Although the weapons are kind of interesting, I have to admit, if it wasn't for loli Latchesis being a blood countess, I honestly wouldn't even bother review that. Me even doing it late is already a service that I don't even care to provide. What else to add? Oh, Armor March Seal is kind of good. I don't know. Sacrifice Blani? No. If I feel particularly stupid, I can also give that to Legendary Edelgard so she can move while she moves. Ooh. Yeah. Not much to really talk about. I think the Hector Refine is strong. Kind of stupid, but we're in an area of stupid damage reduction anyway, which she fortunately doesn't have, outside of a debuff, but it's still really stupid. I mean, he has like, what, 5 or 6 of 7 effects? It's really stupid. I honestly hate him so much. I see his face, I want to punch him. See, shit like this takes away from characters like Homeless Celica. It turns the game from a player-face adventure into a more defensive one, because the whole point with guys like that is to take out the target that they're fighting against. You know what? They tank and spank. Celica's Refine, while great for her multi-hit shenanigans, takes away one of her most important traits as well. Is the flexible weaponry that she's allowed to have in the form of either Armor Smasher to really destroy armor units. Not that it really matters now, because Hector's Refine is gay and has had that weakness removed, or Fire Sweep to negate counters. In today's meta, where people take hits and pull their attacker's face off, and then weaknesses are being covered by damage reduction, or just simply having their weakness removed altogether, Homeless Celica's home now is in the Skid Row with her newspaper sheets as blankets. Ephraim's thing is whatever. Nothing we haven't already seen. While Veronica is a beacon of stats buff and debuff. Also nothing we haven't seen. But I think she'll run very well in my cavalry team with all the palm staffs and everything. And I mean, she does have 3 range, which is kind of cute. And not something that a lot of people have. Unlike, oh yeah, you can attack twice. You're guaranteed to attack twice. Oh, you're guaranteed to negate someone to keep you from attacking twice. Oh, yeah. Oh, so boring. Get the fuck out of here. But, stat buffs for 3 range, or 4 range, or 7 range, or whatever, like Milla, is cool. I like that kind of crap. I do. admit I have some bias towards general foresight-like characters who have good CO range to buff their units, and, well, 3 range is perfect for her to serve as a general for even her range brethren. Well, but yeah, that's pretty much about it then. I thank you all for watching. Till next time.